I suppose have some games.
Hey guys, welcome back to Classic G-Body Garage. Got the 79 Malibu 4-speed in the garage, sitting next to the other 79 Malibu, which is tucked away in the corner. It has been for several years. I know you guys have been bugging me to get going on that car and asking me what the plans are for that car since I have now the white one. Well, people have also been asking me plans, in regards to the white one here as well. So, really all I want to do is get this car running and driving, as it should, because there is really nothing else wrong with it other than running really, really bad. And the reason why it runs bad, at least one of the reasons why it runs bad, is because the guy that I bought it from had it sitting for several years in Arizona in a garage, and the gas went bad. And the reason why I know the gas went bad is just because of the smell. You'll know when gas goes bad. It has a very, very strong odor. There's Moby coming in for the night, Moby. And when it runs, it stinks, and also it runs terrible. It won't idle. It has a misfire, and that is what this video is all about. Basically, what I want to do is just diagnose a misfire on this car. I know part of it's carburation, but I know flat out it has a miss. So what I'm going to start off doing is a compression check. Now you guys saw me do a compression check on the 78 Calais 4-speed, or the T-top, and I diagnosed that it had a dead cylinder, or at least it had 40 PSI in cylinder number 1, I think it was, and ended up messing with the valves. I believe they were carboned up and had a stuck valve, and now it has approximately 140 in that cylinder that previously had 40. So hopefully I don't have a dead cylinder in this car. I hope it's just an old spark plug wire since it's been sitting for so long. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and start with the compression check. Okay, so when performing a compression check, basically what you need for starters is a compression gauge. Now you can pick up one of these at any local auto parts store. Very easy to use. It has a pressure release right here, and then on the other end you have two different sized threaded connections that fits in where the spark plug goes. So the very first thing you're going to want to do when performing a compression check is go ahead and unplug the distributor or any type of source of spark. Now in any G-body or any older GM car, it's going to be the pink wire with the white plug on the distributor itself. So go ahead and unplug that. Simply pulls out. And then what you want to do next is remove all of the spark plugs. And the reason why you want to remove all of them is because you want the engine to turn over as freely as possible when you're doing a compression check. So then when the gauge is on any particular cylinder, it's only focusing on that one cylinder, so you get the full effect of the compression of that cylinder. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the spark plugs. Alright, I have all the spark plugs out, and usually with a misfire you can tell just by looking at the spark plugs which cylinder is misfiring, because that particular plug is going to be gunked up, fouled out, wet, whatever it might be. Now the four that come out of the passenger side, they all look dry. They're not all nice and light brown like they should be. They're all kind of black looking. Then the plugs on the driver's side, these plugs pretty much look all the same as well, except the very back cylinder number 7. That plug looks very black and actually kind of wet compared to the other one. So we might have a misfire on cylinder number 7. So have all the plugs out. So now I'm going to go ahead and put the compression gauge in and see what we find. Alright, I have the compression gauge screwed into cylinder number 1. And whenever performing a compression check, you want to start with the first cylinder. Now that cylinder is going to be the one closest to the front of the car. Now in a V8, they're staggered, and a V6, any V-type engine, they're staggered. If you're working on an inline motor, it's going to be the cylinder closest to the front of the motor. So go ahead and screw it into cylinder number 1, and I'm going to go ahead and turn the key over. And what you're going to want to do is listen to the engine, count it out about 4 to 5 pumps of the engine, or if you can see the compression gauge, just wait till the needle stops moving. Okay, as you can see, cylinder number 1 looks like 170 pounds. So I'm going to go ahead and go around the rest of the engine and see what we get. Okay, so I just finished up with cylinder number 8, and we are looking at about 165 or so. So I'm going to mark it down here on my piece of paper at 165, and that is cylinder number 8. So what I did here is I finished testing all the cylinders. I wrote everything down on a piece of paper just so I can keep track, and I'll tell you what, everything is 170 or 165, and this is by far the most consistent engine I've ever done a compression check on. Usually they're within 20 pounds of each other on something this old, but this engine has definitely been maintained and been well taken care of. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and buy a set of spark plugs and a set of plug wires as well, because if you can see, just judging by the condition of these plug wires, they're pretty grimy, pretty old looking, and pretty crusty. So I'll go ahead and buy myself a set of plug wires, distributor cap, rotor, spark plugs, and see how well it runs after that. But before I do that, what's the point of getting new spark plugs if the carburetor is all messed up in regards to the old gas? So make sure you guys are staying tuned, because I'm going to be rebuilding the carburetor on this 79 Malibu. It has the 4-barrel quadrajet, and I know a lot of guys don't like these carburetors and are maybe afraid to rebuild them, so I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how to do it. So make sure you're subscribing, leaving comments, all that good stuff, and I will talk to you in the next classic G-Body garage video.